First of all, thank you for that previous presentation. Wonderful stuff, some great insights. And we're looking forward now to moving on to this next piece. And we're going to start exploring with our esteemed panel here the role of technology in the classroom. Again, my name's Michael Taylor and I'm the principal of UIA International School of Tokyo. And it's my privilege to work with this fine group of gentlemen, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm very good afternoon now. I'm Professor Dr. Mahmoud Khalid Musafir, a Malaysian citizen with Iraqi descent. I came to Malaysia 20 years ago and I worked in diplomacy and worked in universities, and I established our own schools in Malaysia, which is the Al Noor International School, where I am the chairman since 16 years. Thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, and a very good afternoon now. Yeah, I'm Aslam. I'm with American Education Group and also NAPI, and I was in Ministry of Education for 39 years in teacher education, and also doing international teacher education with 138 countries under the Malaysian Technical Cooperation Program. So just call me Aslam. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Do I sound sexy enough? All right, good, okay. Now, there's no smile on all your faces, so I thought put a smile on your face. Right, I'm Jeffrey Lewis. I spent 38 years of my life in education. Well, now I'm sounding sexy. All right. And my education journey has been from being a school teacher in the government right up to where I am today. And currently I'm with UCSI Education Group and the school sector. And I would like to be able to, and I'd like to share some interesting things with you after this, but I'd like you to put on more smile on your faces. Everybody's looking too frozen. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mahmoud and Aslan and Jeff. We had our first meeting, our prep meeting for our panel, and it was actually like we'd known each other for quite a long time because, believe it or not, there's a little bit of water under the bridge in education for us as a panel. I'm probably the youngest one. I've only got racked up 34 years or 35 years in education. You know, these gentlemen are leaving me behind. But we're exploring today the influence of technology in the classroom. And the first question I'm going to put to the panel, what do you think your key influences are, or the key influencer in the classroom at present?
Hello again, guys. Anyway, it's to me, from my perspective, that I can see that everything is changing. Although we have heard today about education 4.0, and everything's changing. So what I do believe since long time that I still, from the old school, saying that the teacher is the most influence tool and matter in the class. Whatever the changes that we have seen, whatever the technologies that we have experienced, still we are talking about the teacher and the role of the teacher. Maybe we are going to have some changes in the future that we change our mind, but until today and since 2000 or 4,000 years ago, we are still talking about the teacher.
Yeah, I think basically when we talk about classroom, we are looking at instructional language, we're talking about pedagogy. Now this is where, because the teachers are basically the frontliners, they see the students, they know what the students need. So therefore, a quick one will be, teachers, you need to embrace the pedagogical shift in education. Because you have been given the mandate to stand in front of the class, change the lives of your learners, and make a difference to them. So if teachers are not embracing, if they are not really internalizing the shift in the teaching landscape, then it is really a sad endeavor for both the teachers and the students. Now we are looking at 2023. We talk about the landscape shift, 21st century education. We are already 23 years in the 21st century education. Now, how many of us as teachers, educators, or educationists have really conceptualized and internalized what is 21st century education? The 6 C's. But never mind, I put in an extra C. I call it the 6 C's plus 1. Alvin Toffler says the 6 C's. So Aslam says 6 C's plus 1. We'll talk about it later. And then we talk about Education 4.0, the 9 elements. How many of us have really internalized the 9 elements? And we talk about IR 4.0, just now we heard, right, in the keynote. Now why is IR 4.0 is always mentioned when we talk about education? Education 4.0, IR 4.0, and 21st century education. Because they are all aligned. They're all aligned to make a difference to the learners in the classroom. So this is where I believe that all teachers, you have to really embrace, conceptualize, and realize. And then we are on the journey of real education. Thank you.
Oh, very strong words used by the other two people. I'm going to go very straight down to the point. Now, as an educator, the most important thing that I feel is love, happiness, and a joyful classroom. Being a principal is not about, showing powers and being strict and firm, but it's more of embracing the kids and making them love and enjoy the classroom learning. Now, I've got Generation Z kids in my home. Both my girls are Generation Z. Yesterday my daughter was playing the song of Drake, that nice beats in the car. Now, if I get to go with that groove with them, then they feel, this is a cool guy, man, cool father. Just imagine, that's exactly what a principal should be in school today. The one who is a little bit that Drake, that groovy guy, get in there, be with them, show love, happiness, minus all that methodologies, pedagogies, technology, none of that we speak about, but it's to be that real human being in the classroom and in that school, making sure that you impart that love and knowledge to them. Because there's so much of technology today that we forget that technology has taken away that communication between one another. If Malaysians, all those Malaysians sitting down here, you realize that you go to any restaurant, any fast food restaurants, you find nobody speaking to each other nowadays. Am I right? What do? Everybody's on the phone. Right? There is no communication. So that's one important thing that we need to impart in classroom learning. And we got to change that classroom from that mortar and brick with that tables and chairs to become a more fun environment. And that's what I think education should be. Now, another thing that I feel very strongly is we have been divided. The other guys on the other side and we are here. Basically, those fellows should be here. Do you know why? The reason is because they're not listening to us. If they listen to what we are doing, then they can start planning their syllabus and education to make sure, what the kids receive there. Because what we are doing is we're bridging K-12 with university education. And that's something that we need to do. All those speakers this morning said interesting things. Now remember, my 38 years of experience, I spent almost 30 years in the university education. So only the last 7 years I've been in K-12. But I started in the K-12 much earlier in my life, right? And I should thank, you see, with all the good things that I've done, I've got a parent sitting here today in support of me. She joined this conference and she came up to say, do you remember me? I said, I don't. I said, that's because you did a great job to my son. I'm here to support you. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Jeffrey. So, at this point, if you've come along to look at some tips and some ideas about technology in the classroom, you're going to be fairly disappointed with this group, because all they've talked about are these soft skills. We've got teacher training, the influence of the teacher. We've got pedagogy. I can't even spell the word these days. I hardly remember what it means. And we've got communication and love. I haven't heard mention of ChatGPT, Apple TV, streaming, Facebook, social media. And this is the way our conversation started when we started prepping for this. We started to recognise that we feel, and this developed naturally in the conversation that we started out with, that we think the biggest influences for technology in the classroom are actually the soft skills that we bring there. Let's pull it back in again. What excites you about the classroom right now? We'll reverse it up. Aslan, what excites you about the classroom right now?
Yeah, because of technology, we talk about AI and so on. We need to understand. We truly need to understand. We cannot just jump into the bandwagon. Everybody's using technology. Let's use it. But education is not about using just technology. We must remember, technology is a means, not an end. Technology is our servant, not our master. We are the masters. The practitioners are the masters. So we have to tread with care. The point here is caution. Now, everybody is talking about ChatGPT, and then we talk about, another Quillbot and things like that. Now you use it. I am one person who is embracing technology in education. Technology is here to stay. Technology is to enhance teaching and learning. Yes, but just be careful. Because if technology becomes your master, then you become the servant. But remember, practitioners, we are the masters. Technology is the servant. So everything that we use in technology, there's an array. We have to remember, the word is contextualization. Contextualize technology in the classroom. We should embrace according to the needs of your learners. It's not one head fits all. Remember that. If I can use technology in my classroom here, it doesn't mean that you have to use exactly how I'm using in your classroom. You have to contextualize it accordingly to the needs of your learners. Then I'm with you. Then you're not going to walk alone. I'm a football fan of Liverpool. You'll never walk alone. I'll be with you.
Thank you, Aslan. Mahmood.
Okay. Actually, technology itself, it's an excitement. But the problem that we, as any new thing, we go directly to use that new thing without taking care of the other things. External factors, internal factors, all these important things we need to take care about. our kids are not experiment tools. They are the end user of everything. We need to take care about them. That's why I myself have done one big mistake, Michael. In 2009, I was in Turkey, and I heard in Turkey, and I had good relation with the government at that time in Turkey, they are implementing the new technology in all their schools, where they are distributing iPads for everybody. All the children, they are getting iPad from the government. So I came back to our school, AIS in KL, and I pushed that idea to our board of directors, and they accepted immediately. We were the first school in KL to implement iPad in our school. I did not study it. I thought, wrongly, that a government should have studied well before taking the decision. So definitely I am following a good decision based in a good study. So what I did, I implemented. I invested a lot, by the way, for 400 to 500 students at that time. But at the end of the day, and the good thing that Al Jazeera channel came to interview us. But after 5 years, we lost all our iPads. Only few years back, I asked my logistics manager, did you know where did we put the iPads? He said, no, I'm going to check. And we found that we lost them all. Simply because we lost some of our students' skills. The students themselves lost the skills. They are not only using the iPad and their own iPads and their own phones at homes and in the restaurants, but we allow them to use it in the schools as well. So they were fully occupied by the machine. And the machine, unfortunately, as Aslan said, became our master, not our servant. So with courage and bravery, we decided to just leave that out from our life. And we admitted that we have done a big mistake, not only to ourselves and school, but to our kids and their parents as well. So that's why from then we took the decision to understand well any newcomer, any new technology before we do anything. That's why, Michael, I put here, technology versus what? These things we need to take care about it. All of us, parents and management as well as the teachers. Technology versus discipline. We need to make sure how much technology takes out of our discipline matters. Technology versus ethics. We make sure about our ethics, how much it's going to be affected by the new technology. Technology versus experience, where we should send all these huge experiences for our teachers with the new technology. Technology versus social connectivity. Do we lose any of our connectivity with the life, with the environment, and then so technology versus the nature? People, when they go deeply with the technology, they will lose their connectivity with the environment and nature. This is what we have seen. And that's why I'm not against the technology at all. We are here to make the technology as a good servant to the human being. Thank you very much.
Good, thank you, Mahmoud. I'm impressed you've only made one mistake. I think I've made a career out of making lots of mistakes, but every time we know what happens, every time you make a mistake, you get a little bit closer to that solution. Jeffrey, what excites you about technology?
Well, technology is something that you cannot do away with at the moment, right? Technology is something that's already in the classroom. It's here, it's everywhere. You got to live with it. And exactly is what Dr. Haslam has mentioned, but you got to be careful with technology. So technology today has brought us here together. Technology is boundaryless. And technology is something that we need to live with, and technology has made our life easy. Now, I'm sure none of you will leave home without this gadget. The moment you leave home without this, you go like a drug addict. You need to get it back. Am I right? Number one. Number two, how many of you came to this hotel without using Waze? Hands up. Excellent. Probably stays beside. Well, most of us use Waze, right? But there was a time in our life that we did not have these gadgets. And what did we do? We use this. We ask. And we journey by asking. We speak. We communicate. We connect. Now, this is something that does not happen in a classroom when there's too much of technology. Everybody is embraced or engaged in an iPad or a gadget that they're using in the classroom. Now, a little bit about these words: today, tomorrow, tomorrow, today. You know, when I go back 30 odd years ago, when I started my education journey as a teacher, that was, I still remember, in 1988 when I was posted to Borneo. That's East Malaysia. For those of you who know Sabah and Sarawak. But in my teacher training program, where this guy teaches in the teacher training program, at that point in time, we learned technology in the teachers training program. And I still remember Lotus 1, 2, 3, D-Base, and you have this diskettes and whatnot. 3 years of education in the teaching and learning, in the teacher training college. And there I go, I'm posted to the Borneo, deep in the jungles of Borneo, where I got to travel in a boat. I get into a school that there's no electricity. There's no computers. I've never seen technology for 5 years there. But imagine, that was my today. And I was looking at what's education be like tomorrow. So here I am today, of that tomorrow. But the question is, what's the tomorrow of today going to be like, right? And we speak about IR 4.0, and we speak about technology in classroom. Now, I don't want to speak about that technology in the classroom because I'm sure all of you are educators, and I know you all are using all this interesting technology tools, like, you use an Apple iPad, you use, your gamification in your room, diversification, you use a Zoom, you use a Google Chat. But the point here is, how are we going to journey moving forward? What are we actually teaching our kids? And what are we doing in terms of experience? And how are we preparing our students of today in the classroom for that tomorrow that they are talking about on the other side? When we move in technology while our industries are not moving in the same technology. Now, I have been speaking about technology because when I was in the university, 7 years ago, we used to speak about technology and IR 4.0. I remember we started way back before. And in Malaysia, we were still at that point in time, 2.0 going into 3.0. Our small and medium scale industries did not even have those tools and whatnot. Yesterday evening, I read an article in Malaysia. Infineon is investing $7 billion plant in Kulim High Tech Park, back on the north. Now I was just thinking, wow, interesting, $7 billion investment. Do we have the people for that kind of investment? They're doing this microchips using resources found in the state of Kedah, in Malaysia, right? But the question is, do we have people for that? Do we have the workforce, or do we still have to bring in foreign workforce, expatriates, to work here? So, as I am sitting here talking about love, happiness in the classroom and technology that we're using today, are we moving towards the right direction? Or are we just looking at today, not tomorrow? You know, the interesting thing is when we look at advertisements out there among schools, one guy will say, I'm using this technology. The other guy will say, okay, let's beat that guy and put up this technology. See, I'm doing this. But actually, when you go into the school, at the end of the day, it's chalk and talk. Nothing more than that. The technology has got its own, we use technology in other means in teaching and learning. But let me tell you, for me, I cannot do away technology in classroom. It is going to be there. It is something that you need to use because students of today are technology kids. You cannot run away from that. So, you know, the panelists are all above 50 years old probably, you know. So we guys are not there with the young guys. We don't think like them, but we got to think like them. And we got to move technology based on those guys. So as much as we agree and disagree and talk about all these things, you can never run away from technology. As you came here, when you registered, you use scan codes, right? You use your Waze, you use your phones. I don't think they give you materials nowadays. What they do is you can scan your materials, come into your phone, right? Those days you got to print papers. You got to go. I keep going asking around. Can I have the PowerPoint? Can I have the PowerPoint? Today they say no, just scan. It's all there. So that's the kind of technology world that we live in, and we cannot run away from that. And for tomorrow, think about that IR 4.0 that they are talking about the other side. Are we there? Do we have the resources? Do we have the skills? Do you have the technology? No, we don't.
All right, thank you, Jeff. And that's probably a great segue. Originally, we were going to talk about what are we wary about in the classroom and about bringing educational technology into the classroom. But I think everybody can hear from the discussion thus far is the purpose behind education and how we're using it to enhance learning is the thing that we're most wary about. Not just throwing technology after technology into the classroom, expecting that we're going to get a result. So I'm going to ask a question without notice. And we'll start with Mahmood. What do you see the vision for educational technology in the classroom going forward? You know, we sit here again in 5 years' time, same handsome bunch of gentlemen, same wonderful group of audience. What do you see has evolved in educational technology in the classroom at that stage?
Well, it's not easy actually to answer this question now because changing and development is still going. But what I can see now, and I'm very optimistic in this, that it's not like 2 decades before when the rapid technology started occupying our life in education. Today, I see that the people responsible for the education, they are more understanding of what's happening, and that's why the choices are more logic, rational. And that's why I'm not very afraid from the future. I still believe that the stabilizing and mobilizing the relation between technology and the education methods we still needed there. I do believe that in the future we will be having more rational relation between the technology and the education. You see what happened in the COVID-19, in the pandemic. Most of the people, they thought that we are losing or we are just moving out from the old style of education. Everybody was saying that with the online systems and all these things. But you see how we came back to our normal very fast. Why that was happening? That was happening because we still need the direct communication between the teacher and the student. Until today, we couldn't have the system that we can just avoid this kind of relationship. This relationship is very important to maintain the student life and to maintain the working life for the teachers. You imagine mentality of teachers who are sitting at homes for nearly 8-9 hours teaching online. And imagine the mentality of students, guys, that sitting 8 hours, 9 hours in front of that screen, just taking the knowledge feeded by the teacher online. You just think about it and you will see that the damage might be big. And that's why I'm still very much optimistic that we can have a good system of having technology and education methods together for the best of our learners.
I think very sage words there. Thank you, Mahmood. Aslan, where do you see? What's your vision?
One statement: technology is here to stay. No doubt. However, how do we welcome technology and make it stay in the most effective manner? We can't run away. Teachers, educators, practitioners, we have to live with technology in the classroom. So I'm looking from the pedagogical aspect. Now we need to have a very clear plan. Need a clear plan in terms of the curriculum, the syllabus, and bring the best people who are passionate about education, those who really know what education is, to sit on the panel and come up with the pedagogy using technology in the classroom. Then we are okay. We have to embrace it, but we have to put it right clearly, lay it on the table, and bring the best people to guide us. Now remember, using technology in the classroom is not being imposed upon you, shouldn't be imposed upon you, and push it down your throat. Like what I mentioned earlier, it should be contextualized. So teachers need to be empowered. So I believe in decentralization of teaching and learning. Anything comes from the top has to be realized in the classroom. We just cannot just take it, do it for the sake of doing it because it comes from the top. No. It has to come from the top in the planning and from the bottom, and we meet halfway in the middle. So therefore, for me, I believe that every person, the stakeholders, teachers are the best people because they stand in front of the class. They face the students. They know what is right and what is wrong, what can work and what may not work. So give them the empowerment. Give teachers the empowerment. Bring everything, lay it on the table. Now you pick and choose which is best for your subjects, for your learners. Because a theme or a topic, like for me, I believe in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur or Damansara or Bangsa, those are the affluent society. What works there with the students in the schools may not work. May not work somewhere else. May not work in other places. Even though it can be a neighboring school. Your school is just across the road. But the topics, the methodology, the approaches, you're integrating technology might not be the same, even though the topic and the theme can be same, because the learners are different. Learning styles are different. So this is where I'm coming from. From the pedagogical perspective, empowerment should be given to the teachers, the practitioners who are facing the students. There is, again, I repeat, I reiterate, there is no one head fits all in pedagogy. And always remember, we are talking about education. We are not talking about cars, where you can recall the car after 3 years and say, hey, there's a defect. Come back, bring back all the cars. We want to re-engineer it because there was a defect. But in education, once they pass your hands in your classroom, they go to the next level, the next level. There is no undone button in teaching and learning. Computer, you can undo it, but education, no undone. Once they leave your class, maybe in year 3 or K-12, you cannot say, hey, come back. I think I taught you wrongly. Come back. I want to re-engineer the whole thing again. Sorry. So we have to tread with caution again. So use technology, yes, 100%. Michael, I agree, and we have to embrace, we have to use it because it's here to stay. But with careful thoughts, with careful planning, put the right people in mapping out technology in education. Then we are on the right track. Don't favor anyone. Don't favor anyone. Not anyone up there, here, left and right. Favor the students. We change lives and make a difference. That's where we are coming from. Thank you.
All right, very inspirational words. Thank you, Aslan. And I think that in the room, a lot of people would be feeling much more comfortable with the fact that Aslan's just explained that it's not about the technology in 5 years' time. It's the support for you people here, you people on the ground, your teachers, about how you're supporting them, the level of educational technology supporting learning is only as effective as the practitioners that are delivering it with the purpose of supporting pedagogy. Thank you, Aslan. Jeff.
All right, thank you, Michaels. Well, I would like to go back to the presenter earlier, and I'd like to take that slide that he showed up there. Signature experience. 5 years down the road, what would I like to see? I would like to see that signature experience. Now, what is signature experience here? Are you having signature experience today? No smiles on everybody's face. Probably the breakfast was not enough. I hope the lunch is better after this. Signature experience is important. And that's the experience that we do not know in the next 5 years how it's going to be. But there's one thing that I would love to see is, we keep using this word teacher. That word will probably have to disappear. They have to become facilitators. They got to become those people who engage and facilitate learning, because technology is not going to stop. It's just going to go, it's going to move forward. So the role of a teacher changes now. They facilitate. The next thing that I would like to see is collaboration in learning. Collaboration is, like in 5 years, probably we won't be sitting here on this stage and you sitting there. I would like to see a conference on hologram. Everybody's like, interestingly, appearing. Technology is that fast. We do not know what's going to happen. Watch movies today of Hollywood. They are showing you things that probably will happen, because way back when I was in primary school, I remember seeing Space 1999. And it was already there at that point when they showed technology in Star Wars way back. And today we see that happening. So, these conferences can become an hologram kind of thing where we go online and we do it differently. 5 years from now. Now, that doesn't stop us here from collaboration. Technology, you and I, mixing, schools coming together, learning, collaborating, exchanging ideas. That is something that we need to do. Like what was said earlier. What happens in Malaysia may not happen in India. What happens in India may not be happening in US and other countries. But how do we reach out? How do we take this technology out of just the classroom and get into a more boundaryless global engagement? Now that's something that we don't talk about. We come for conferences, we sit here, we exchange business cards, but then after that, bye-bye, till we meet again in the next conference. You get what I mean? So, the engagement for the next 5 years starts today. All right? I'm sorry I don't have a scan code for myself, but you can take a photo of me. All right? That's my scan code. Keep my photo, so that you remember me. So, 5 years down the road, we like to look at this signature experience. Technology that goes beyond what we see today. And we want to see more engagements, more collaborations, more working together. So sometimes I wonder why we come for conferences and we sit here. We just sit at each table down there. We do not know each other. Then we go back. We spend almost 2 days together. But this is where that next 5 years beginning starts with you and me engaging. Because that's where it all begins. And what happens in the next 5 years, we can see it together if we work together. Thank you.
Right, Jeff, he's thrown down the gauntlet to you. Don't just exchange business cards with him. Make sure you make the connection. I'm going to ask the panel now to give us a pearl of wisdom. And again, this was without notice, but give us a pearl of wisdom. And I'm going to, because you gentlemen know how to talk, I'm going to restrict you to 1 minute each. And whilst they're going to do that, I want you, the audience, if you've got any questions that you'd like to throw at the panel, please, after this section, that'll be your opportunity to ask the esteemed gentleman any question you'd like. Mahmood, I'm going to ask you to use that microphone, and I'm going to go wander in the audience as they're going to ask you questions. So, do you want to start off? Give us a pearl of wisdom. Pass him that one. Give us a pearl of wisdom in 1 minute or less.
Okay. I do believe that while we are talking about technology, therefore, I believe wells that we need to follow. Well-trained teacher, well-experienced management, well-connectivity to the nature, and well-moderation between the technology and the student. Thank you.
My line is very clear. Teachers, remember this. Technology will never, ever replace teachers. But teachers with technology will replace those without technology. So remember this. All right, teachers, embrace, internalize it, use it. But don't use it alone. You cannot walk alone. I mentioned just now, in Liverpool, you'll never walk alone because we are practitioners, we are educators, we are going to work together. Share. Whatever you have, share. That's what teaching and learning is all about. We share. All right? And remember one thing, that when we are using technology, always put in your mind, hey, technology is my servant. I'm the master. So if you have that perception in you, you are going to use technology in the best possible way to enhance your pedagogical skills. Thank you.
Sorry, Jeff. Aslan stole your minute. I'm joking. Thank you, Aslan.
Right. I would like to use technology to share this wisdom. It's not from me, but I like to take these words from Alvin Toffler. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what we need to do. We need to learn, we need to unlearn, and we need to relearn, because things are not going to be the same and it's going to be changing every day. What do you, Mike?
Thank you, Jeff. Questions from the audience? Anybody? Please just identify who you would like to direct your question to.
Myself, Dr. Salvakumar, IMKT Teacher Training, India, Mysore. My question is to the panelist. We know that technology is a means, not a product or not the end. It's only a part of the education system which is going to reach every child or every student. Now, preparing resources for the technology is more important than delivering the technology. So how a technology can be used in variety of pedagogy, because we already discussed, it's only a means, it's only a ways, it's only an agent to reach the students. The pedagogy differs. Variety of subjects are there. Variety of subject experts are there. How we are going to connect the subject expert with the technology expert? This is the place we are lacking. Everyone speaks about the technology and every teacher wants to use the technology. But how is going to be connected between the technology experts and the subject experts, that is called pedagogy experts? Thank you.
And your question? What's your question?
How you are going to connect the technology expert and the pedagogy experts?
It's not a difficult question. Since you stood, I also want to stand. Now, because when you talk about the experts in technology and the experts in pedagogy, you merge them, right? You're going to have that marriage, not marriage of convenience, yeah? A marriage between these two people. That's where I mentioned much earlier. We need to have the whole plan. Whenever we are going to embrace technology, we're going to utilize technology, realize technology in pedagogy, it has to be done in a very meticulous manner, proper manner, laid on the table. It's not a fly-by-night kind of thing. So we need a plan. Short-term plan, mid-term plan, and long-term plan. And therefore, sir, if we follow that, you will have both of them sitting at the table, coming up with the answer for you. Thank you.
Thank you. This is Maimuna Hassan. Since we are talking about the future of technology, I would like to know from Mr. Jeffrey maybe, that what do you think about the flipped classroom situation? This strategy is helping teacher a lot because basic purpose of technology is to engage learner with learning and whatever facilitates that. So what is your take on flipped classroom situation when children come prepared on a certain topic? It could be primary, it could be secondary.
Right, I love flip because I teach judo. So in judo we flip, right? In karate we flip. So when I teach martial arts we flip. So flipping is good, and I think classrooms today, flip education is important, and that's exactly what in my schools we do that. We get the students involved more than where we the teachers go on chalk and talk. We make them do projects. You see, in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the end of the day, the product, the expert, the production is most important. And that's we're only able to do that if you flip the classroom, right? If there's flipped classrooms in the pedagogy or in the methodology of teaching in the classroom. So that's a lot. In technology teaching, that's a lot. We do quite a bit of that in a classroom, and I think flipped classroom is an important thing, but you don't flip all the time, If you keep flipping all the time, then there's no engagement, because, you need that engagement going in the classroom. I believe it's very limited at the moment. Most of my educators, we use it, but we don't use it extensively because they got other ways of using it. But I would love more flipped classrooms to be used, but it's just that the educators don't do it and they don't embrace it easily, because, many of them are still on the chalk and talk method, and they love that, control, power, they want that all the time. Thank you.
And I'm well aware of time, so this will be our last question. So over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Hanafia. I would like to ask a question on them. I think if the education go to 5.0, I believe all the information and knowledge will be stored in the cloud. Yeah? So that means it's a matter of how to access it. So do you think that when we reach that time, is that education is matter for the children, or we just teach them how to access to the information so that they know what to do in managing their life? Thank you.
Mahmood, what about you? Take that one.
Thank you. I think this is a very important question that I've ever heard this morning. To me, I'm going to answer this very frankly to you guys, that I don't believe that the education is only information feeding. If it is only about information, then we never need now for any teacher. It's about the life, about the student life, about the student discipline. It's about the student information. It's about the student faith. It's a lot of things together. The cloud can give you the information, can give the student the information. We can allow or we can facilitate the students to go to the cloud to get the information. But at the end of the day, who is building the personality of that student? Who is going to make that student man or woman? Is the school, is the process, the whole process. As I've just talked to Aslan just now when he was saying that this kind of including technology in the education, everything is education, is a very long-term process. It needs a lot of things from us to do it. So that's why I don't believe that tomorrow, when it's going to be 5.0 education, then we will not need for the school or for the teacher. Never. I don't believe in this. Still, we need that because it's a whole process that needs everybody to be involved with. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Mahmood. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for being part of this panel and this important discussion today. And most importantly, my esteemed colleagues, please give it up for them for some great insights. Thank you very much to the organisers for everything, giving us the opportunity to stand here with you guys and share. Don't forget, you've all got to connect with Jeffrey before you get out of here. Not just a business card, but a genuine connection. So enjoy the rest of your conference and have a lovely afternoon.